Hey guys, welcome back to Embrace Heart. Today we're going to be talking about a call for mercy. You ever heard like the parables in the Bible where Jesus shared a story, right? And one of the stories he shared was a story that he told Peter. And Peter was talking to him about, because he was upset with his dad. And he said, I'm so mad at my dad and this and that. And Jesus says, you need to forgive him. And he says, how many times? He says, not 7 times, but 70 times 70 times. 7 times 70 times. And he tells a story about a king, and the servant comes up to the king, and the servant owes 10,000 tenants. Okay, that's not $10,000. That's 10,000 tenants. And here's how we're gonna break it down to understand that. If I were to make $15 an hour and I were to work 2,000 hours, I would make $30,000 a year. Now you add that up to what? Looking at that, you add that up to what a one tenant would be. That would be $600,000. Now that's one tenant. How many is 10? 10 tenants in our day and age would be like $6 billion. This man has a payment. He has a fine that he could never pay back. He's a servant. He couldn't pay this type of money. And if you're anything like me, you definitely couldn't pay this type of money. But what does the king do? The king forgives him. The king says, everything's okay. This person deserves punishment. This person deserves jail time. This person deserves any law that is passed, any punishment that is given. He deserves it. But he doesn't have to pay it. Well, what does this person do? He's just been freed of a payment that he could never pay back. But what does he do? He goes and finds his servant. And his servant owes him around 20,000 something, or what we see is 20,000 something dollars. And what does he do? He picks him up by his neck and he throws him against the wall and says, hey, you owe me this much money. You owe me this. And the man's pleading with him, saying, please. And he's on his knees and said, please, I'll pay it back. I'll give you the money, please. Just give me time. Just give me time, please. And the man doesn't show him any mercy. Instead, the man throws him in jail and he locks him up. And the servants are so horrified by what they've seen. This person who just got paid, just was able not to have to pay his fine due to someone else who owed him something. And they went to the king, and the king punished him. He threw him in jail, and he paid for the other person's fine. And there's something here that needs to be said, the fact that there's a lack of mercy. As a Christian, I know that before I became Christian, I had a fine, I had a payment of my sin, and it was something I could never pay back. It was like the $6 billion. I could never pay it back. I could never give enough to equal out my sin problem. I could never cancel out my punishment because there's just too much. But God has paid my fine. God has set me free. And I understand that if God has set me free from something that's a whole lot worse than what anyone else will ever do to me, then I understand I really, truly need not only to forgive others, but show mercy to others. Be patient with others. Because I understand that God can forgive me for so much. I can forgive others for so little. But for argument's sake, let's say I don't. Let's say I don't forgive others. Well, where this story comes from, Matthew 18, and the very last verse of this story, the very last thing that is said is in verse 35. So Matthew 18, verse 35 says, so also my heavenly Father will do to every one of you if you do not forgive your brother from your heart. We understand the end of the story. The king does what? The king throws the person in jail. it says, well, at the very end, it says, if we don't forgive others genuinely from our heart, Christ will do the same thing to us. We talk about testing ourselves, seeing with our faith, judging your walk as a Christian by maybe the fruits of the Spirit, the way you live your life. And one of those is forgiveness and mercy. And I can look at myself and go, do I forgive others? Because if Christ has forgiven me of so much, I should be able to forgive others for so little. And if I can't forgive anybody for anything that's done against me, I might want to look at my heart and see if Christ is truly living inside me. This isn't me judging you. This is me telling you to judge yourself. Look at yourself and see. Have you been forgiving people lately? Have you been showing mercy to people lately? Guys, as we leave off, I just want to leave off with this. Whatever you do, wherever you go, and whoever you see, embrace a heart. Thanks, guys. See you soon. As a Christian, I know that Christ is supposed to lead my life. He is the Lord of my life, and He's supposed to guide me to my day-to-day. And I understand that I need to let my selfish things die so He can live inside me. And people, when they see me, they see Him. They don't see myself.